As I had said in my last video that I will be covering this affordable fragrance from the house of Rasasi, and if you haven't already watched that video, I am talking about the top 10 spring and early summer fragrances, and if you want to check the video out, I will put it somewhere in the top I button. And before we start the video, welcome back to Evocative Scents, and if you are watching my video for the first time, do consider subscribing to this channel and don't forget to hit that notification bell as well so that you don't miss out on my new videos. And without any further delay, let's get this video started. Now let's get to the presentation and packaging. Presentation is not at all fancy here, but there are some things that stand out. It is a standard paper box, but it has very nice texture all over it instead of being plainly finished. At the bottom you can see all the necessary details as well as the batch code and manufacturing date of this perfume. Now moving on to the back of this packet, you can see the ingredients section as well as Rasasi on the bottom, and it comes in 100 ml. For a fragrance that costs around $15 to $20 or somewhere in between 1200 to 1400 Indian rupees, the packaging is not too shabby. Even the much more expensive Havas lineup comes with this sort of cardboard packaging. But the thing inside the box is much more interesting. And as we open up the box, we find the bottle resting inside it. Now let's get this thing out. And also there is a leaflet inside the box showing other Rasasi fragrances. Let me open it up so that you can clearly see. I have already covered the Rasasi Essential for Men in one of my top 5 fragrance videos. And after checking the Amber Alive, I am much more interested in this lineup. Especially the Deep Blue, which has similar bottle design, and the Rasasi Brilliant series. Now let's keep this leaflet aside because there is another interesting thing inside the box. If you look carefully, there is another sample of Rasasi fragrance, which is a nice little touch, I would say, because you get to smell another fragrance. Here the sample is of wood intense, and from what I remember with the Essential, I had got perhaps the wood excess. Though these samples do not come with any atomizer, and I wonder if these vials contain concentrated oil or the same Eau de Parfum concentration perfume. Now on to the main bottle design. It has a matte black finish to it, and at the shoulder of the bottle you can see that it has a brushed metallic finish to it, which I believe is made up of plastic, and the cap has a wooden finish and the same concentric circle brushed finish in the top. And as we open up the cap, you can see the atomizer is finished in black color, and at the top there is Rasasi written on it. Nice attention to details for a fragrance of this price, I would say. Now let's keep the bottle aside and move on to the spray test. And yes, the perfume comes in Eau de Parfum concentration. As you can see, the atomizer is a normal one, not a pressurized one, but it does the job decently, I would say. Nothing to complain about. So overall, in terms of presentation and packaging, this fragrance certainly deserves an 8 out of 10. Now to the most important part of this video. How does this fragrance smells? Because it was ranked first in my previous video, and boy does it smell great. If you are a fan of aromatic Fujier fragrances, this would be right up in your alley. This fragrance has absolutely no sweetness in it. It has a very fresh and citrusy opening with almost a clean soapy quality to it. But what differentiates it from regular citrusy fragrances, it has lot of spices that goes along with the citrusy opening. Spices such as black pepper and clove are certainly very strong in this fragrance. But these all notes are beautifully rounded up and are balanced out with the aromatic lavender. However, do not expect this lavender to be a powdery one. The lavender used here is in the line of Barbers of fragrances, not like the Latafa Al Nasama Caprice or the Blue Electric for that matter. But what makes this fragrance so beautiful is that addition of those green notes, especially those of pine needles and a strong oak musk note. And these all aspects give the fragrance a push and the presence in the air. But with all these notes, how this fragrance is going to smell? At first you will get that citrusy soapy feel like those green Liril soaps, but with the addition of lot of spices, especially the clove. And once the citruses fade away, the aromatic lavender takes the center stage along with lot of fresh green facet. If you have ever used Old Spice shaving cream or the aftershave, you will instantly recognize this smell. In fact, this fragrance takes inspirations heavily from the Drakkar Noir. Sadly, the newer Drakkar Noirs are not that potent as the earlier batches of the 80s and 90s, and this fragrance will certainly remind you of the old school Drakkar Noir fragrances. This fragrance heavily leans towards the masculine side. Mostly I say that fragrances are mostly unisex in nature, but this one is certainly not that category. But the ladies do love these kind of fragrances on men. A very mature smelling fragrance that will be mostly appreciated by the people above the age of 30. and maybe 25 plus. And since now the market is saturated with fresh and sweet fragrances, this one is going to smell different. It will remind people of the good old days of the 80s and 90s, and nowadays not many people are rocking these kind of fragrances like the Green Irish Tweed or the David of Cool Water. It is one of those classic fragrances that is always going to be timeless. A very affordable fragrance that isn't going to break your bank. I would highly suggest you to give this fragrance a try. While a lot of fragrances from the house of Rasasi get the hype, like the Havas or the Layuk Worm or the Fatan for that matter, surprisingly this line remains underrated. Now if you have ever tried this fragrance, do let me know in the comment section down below what are your thoughts on this fragrance is. Now in terms of scent profile, I would give this fragrance a solid 9 out of 10. A fantastic classy fragrance that will never go out of style. And in terms of versatility, this fragrance is certainly not unisex in nature. It heavily leans towards the masculine side, but it can be worn in formal as well as casual events. And this cologne can also be used in all weather, just not in the extreme heat. When the temperature is going above 40 degrees Celsius, it might get a little too spicy for some people. A fragrance that is very well suited for dressed up situation. For any formal events or the office scenario, this fragrance is perfect for every situation. Just go easy with the spray. So for the versatility, I would give this fragrance a solid 8 out of 10. And now on to the performance. It is just excellent. You will get around 2 to 3 hours of solid projection and an easy 8 hours of longevity on clothes. So the performance is a total non-issue here. In fact, it is one of the strongest suit of this fragrance. So for the performance, this fragrance certainly deserves a 9 out of 10. And what's great about this fragrance is also that even after the 4-hour mark, I can easily smell this perfume. So I would recommend anywhere between 2 to 3 sprays at max. This perfume is also going to get you a lot of compliments. A real gem of a fragrance that you should definitely try. If you like this video, hit that like button, and if you have ever tried this fragrance or the Drakkar Noir, post your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you are new to the channel and you love fragrance related content, consider subscribing to this channel as well. And with all the scores combined along with the price, this perfume scores a solid 9 out of 10. So that's it for today's video. I will meet you all in my next video.